For the last 20 years, they've been trying to find a site.
It'll take time, big money and a lot of hard work if Everton are to turn this into this.
There ain't no quick fixes in football. We want to gradually build on what I hope we're achieving now, and amongst many things, move to the new stadium and all that that will bring to the football club.
I got a phone call as I was going into a theatre on Thursday night saying, we believe that there's problems down at the King's Dock, that in fact, stronger than that Everton's bid for the King's Dock is about to be thrown out. I don't know of that. I'm assured that's not true.
We were all in love with Goodison, and by then I was in love with Goodison. Nobody wanted to move. But the reason we had to leave was partly infrastructural, partly financial. My advisors told me that, their estimate is by 2028, Goodison should be demolished.
There we go. Ready for me to go in? Yeah, you're good. So. First one will be 3 words to describe Goodison.
Listen to the noise. Feel the history. Feel the passion. Feel Goodison Park. And feel Everton.
We played across the park. We'd moved there in the mid-1880s. John Holding was the driving force in the expansion and development of the club. And it came to a head in 1892. Holding wanted to put up the rent, and Everton were going to decamp that summer and build their own new stadium, leaving Anfield vacant. Holding was left with an empty ground, as I say, Anfield. He was going to name a team there, Everton Athletic Club. He wasn't allowed to do that, so he had to give them the name Liverpool Football Club, and of course the rest is history.
You quite often find this city's got half the family are Everton supporters and the other half could be Liverpool supporters.
Mike O'Connor, Everton supporter since 1954 till forever.
My brother used to say to me, he was a Liverpoolian, but he's sorry he done that now.
Oh, it keeps the family together completely. Us all going to match, we all meet here, we all see all the whole family is seeing each other. My granddad's dad, he was Everton, then there's my granddad, my dad, my uncle, me, and 3 brothers.
It's a different world for them. I mean, for a long time, Everton have been nothing like competitive, and it's been more of a struggle against relegation in the recent years. But again, I think that the thing that keeps you going is the camaraderie, going to match with your family, seeing your mates, the working class culture that surrounds it. It just that experience holds you all together. It's not whether you're winning or losing on the pitch that matters at the end of the day.
Not every Evertonian has seen success, but there's a large group of supporters that have seen good times, and the 4th most successful team in the country and things like that. And we can never forget that. And I know the last couple of years have been tough, but we got to understand that we're a massive football club in this country.
I used to go with my dad, and not his dad, but on my mum's side, he was a really big Everton fan. So I was steeped in history of Everton footballers from when I was a kid, like me. Granddad telling me stories about Dixie Dean scoring from the halfway line with a header and things like that.
Do you have a special game that sticks out at Goodison when you were a player?
The game when we won the league, we'd won the league, and 69-70, and I don't remember going to bed. It was, we were a good side, And we could celebrate, believe me.
We went up the stairs, up the stands to receive our trophies and medals, and just hanging right by the side of the thing. It was my dad, like, you know, and when I got the medal, it was like handed it over to him, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that, I mean, I'll bet that was special, was it?
Oh, it was certainly, yeah.
We come from Liverpool as well. It's very difficult to put into words, as you know, but possibly the best day of my life. I'm absolutely delighted, and might have a couple of drinks tonight. Oh no, it's a game Wednesday.
Do you know what? You think at the time you think, oh, we've won the league championship first. It's great. This you don't embrace it till you get a wee bit older and more mature, and you look back and you go, wow.
What's that record? I could be on the top of the pub, Sharpie.
Everything came together with the signing of Peter Reid and Andy Gray. Two old heads kind of brought us all together, and we just went on the pitch with a freedom to play. Obviously, we had the tactics, Colin Harvey, Howard Kendall, showing them what they wanted, kind of thing. And once it clicked, it was great. It was a joy. We couldn't wait for the next game.
When we turned it around in the 83-84 season, that was it. That was the proviso. We went after teams, and when we went after teams, we were a better side. And when we went after teams, them young players grew up overnight. You know, the Sharps, the Heats, the Ratcliffes, because we got after teams. And I think that's a big thing about Goodison Park. If you get after teams there, it's our place to go. You ask anybody, you ask any coaches who've played against Everton at Goodison Park, and when the crowd are up for it, and when the team are up for it, it's our place to play.
Bayern Munich was one that, you know, will never be repeated. I know people talk now about the Derby game recently, but Bayern Munich was unbelievable.
It was the great Goodison night. It was everything that Everton team was rolled up into one night.
You go down playing, and then the next best thing is coaching, and it's Bayern Munich at Goodison, and we went there to play in their old arena, and we drew 0-0 and came back to Goodison, and that was like a completely different gig.
This night, you couldn't get anywhere near Goodison, and we used to come in and go round the back of the Bullens and back the Gladys Street and back in the front. Couldn't move. The place was absolutely packed, and I remember we thought, wow, this is a bit special now.
We done all right until half time in the Bayern Munich game, and he was quite happy with what we were doing. I don't think we were, to be quite honest, but we're grinding it out. And he said, same again. Don't worry, the Gladys Street, they'll suck it in. Just get the ball in the box, they'll suck it in. And they did.
I remember him saying, listen, we did well in the first half, and they were a good team, some really good players, but we did well. And then I remember coming down, sitting down, we're disappointed, we're 1-0 down. Don't worry, you're playing well, you're doing everything right. Listen, you're hitting into Gladys Street now, they'll suck one in for you.
You couldn't hear a pin drop, but when he spoke about that, lads, let's go. Yeah, it was great. It was amazing. It gave me a little bit of a chill thinking about that.
I mean, at the time you're thinking, that's a load of nonsense, that out. And after the game you think, I might have a grain of truth to it.
Gray is onside, played onside by Nakbai. And Trevor Stephen, it's settled now!
But don't kid yourself that Everton bullied Bayern Munich out of the Cup Winners' Cup that night. Just look at the third goal. Just look at the quality. Just look at the interchange and the skill, the balance of Trevor Stephen.
Did you think they'd win, Everton?
They were second favourites, no doubt about that. But it doesn't matter what I thought, it's what they thought. And Howard and the players thought they'd win.
When they got that night as well, they realised then, I think, as well as we did as well, that this was a team that was on the up and there was no stopping. Bayern Munich, a fantastic football club with fantastic history, but that night there was only going to be one winner.
They're through to their first European final. Andy Gray's crucial goal, the second of Everton's three, and the unique treble is very much on at the expense of the similar ambitions of Bayern Munich.
You went on and won the league in your first season.
Yeah, it was a great mix of players, and you know the most important thing in football teams is to have great characters, and that's what we had.
And now Philip Carter presents the league trophy.
It was absolutely magnificent, it really was, you know, for something to happen so quick after moving to the football club. You know, it certainly wasn't just because of me, it's because of, as I said before, you know, the great team of characters that we had. It was absolutely bouncing, and you know, you'd seen teams on the TV winning trophies and you think, oh, that must be good. And we were in the situation where it was our turn to do it, and we made the most of it. We had a good bounce around the stadium, and the fans, they loved it, obviously, and yeah, it was great, really good.
Listen, stadiums are beautiful, but when that crowd are in there, and you know, when it's electric, it's brilliant. Match days, match nights, are nights even better. Yeah, even being honest, there's something about night games at Goodison.
What do you think when you think back at Goodison? Where are your memories?
Night games. As a player,
difficult to pick any favourite moment out because there's been so many good moments. I think, can I really think of one? Duncan Ferguson scores the header against Manchester United. I think we won 1-0 against Manchester United late on. I think that was a year we were maybe challenging for, you know, to get into the Champions League.
I've played for the club, captained the club, managed to pick up a trophy, and managed the club. So it's been, an incredible way in 30 years or so. So amazing, and the biggest thing for me is being part of the community, and part with the fans. The fans have been incredible, and they showed me incredible respect, both sides, the whole city, and I can't thank them enough for that. You know, they're special to me. They know that it's not just words. You know, I love them, and I'll always love them.
Well, you've got no choice because these expect, these demand, and you've got to go out there and roll your sleeves up and run around. And sometimes in them tough times, it wasn't about quality or anything like that. It was all about showing some fight, showing some commitment, matching their passion.
We all talk about the good times and everything else and how fantastic it was, but when you remember that, you know, before we got to those good times, there was a lot of low times, and it was really tough to play at Goodison. It wasn't always a full house. You know, the tendencies were pretty poor at times. And you could always hear, you know, every criticism aimed at you. You could actually see the person in the crowd who was giving it to you.
The old saying, you know, the fans are close to the pitch.
Yeah.
Could you hear them at Goodison? Could you hear what they were saying?
Hear them? You must be kidding. You must be kidding. Some of the abuse that I've heard.
Even players coming to the club will realise the size of the club once they get here and play out there. You know, it can be a difficult environment. You've got to be strong.
It's very demanding. And I think it takes a while for players to realise, you know, how demanding it is, and it's not until you kind of maybe sign for the club or you're you know the ins and outs of the club, that you understand why they're demanding.
What was your favourite thing about the Goodison as a player?
The passion of the people, 100%. I mean, they were right at it, yeah, so close to you. You can hear them. They were shouting at you. They were right behind you. It was a joy to play in that stadium.
It's a really, really intimidating stadium to come and play. The closeness to the pitch, and it has been. But I think this stadium needs to be really rocking to really make that happen.
It was built in the 19th century. It shakes. I mean, and that's mainly the fault of Everton fans and how they support their team. You know, I'm not saying it would shake at, dare I say, Manchester City. But yeah, I mean, the passion, the Goodison roar, the feeling that Everton have for their team, and particularly when their team's on the up and scoring goals, would probably shake a lot of 21st century stadium. But it certainly shakes a 19th century stadium.
See, even now, I've seen you see stuff online, but you see pictures of when the lads score. You see the fans, you could see 1,000 fans in the background, and it's not one mobile phone, it's just raw passion.
I've played in a lot of games, I've played all over the world, and then when Tarkowski at that one in, I was the lads from Ayton, and that's the only way I can describe it. You know, I wasn't Peter Reid who played for Everton, was fortunate enough to play for England, who won many things. I was the lad from Ayton. We just equalised, and I was at it. VAR. Someone said to me afterwards, well, you had two chances. You had a celebration there, and 4 minutes later, you had a celebration. I said, yeah, but what about 3 heart attacks I had in between? I scored about my French, but but that was the emotion. That was the emotion of it. I felt that. I know. What was it? You cannot describe it. I mean, I'm 60 odd now, 68. I was like a lunatic.
In terms of pure noise, for a goal late on in a game and then an important result, just the sheer visceral sound that comes, not simply from Gladys Street, but from all over. There are probably only 3 or 4 stadiums that I've been to in the world which actually compete with that. Besiktas, when they were in their old stadium, when they apparently set the record for biggest noise, I would put Goodison Park alongside that. I would put Celtic Park or Ibrox for an Old Firm game. Anfield for a big European night under the lights.
It makes such a difference if they think that they've got the crowd with them. And it's a great stadium for making a good tackle.
It gives you that extra gear. I think you push that extra yard, and as a player, and to do well, and it could be the smallest thing, chasing the ball down and stopping, putting the ball out for a throw in their half by blocking a long ball or something, and the players just get to let rip.
People talk about a wave of noise, and it really was a wave of noise that actually kind of pushed you back a bit. I mean, it was ridiculous to say, but it was actually kind of like a sort of physical. It wasn't simply in your ears. It sort of pushed your body back, and you actually felt the force of Gladys Street, and it was in their voice, but it was almost physical the way it pushed you back. Yeah, not many noises like that in football.
How difficult, how challenging is it to be there as an opponent, player and manager?
You know, you go there, it's like going to the dentist. You know, you're gonna have a tough time. You're not gonna be a really enjoyable afternoon in many sense, and that's the beauty of it, that you go there thinking, oh, that's gonna be tough.
I was stuck in the dressing room of Goodison Park.
What will it mean for Carlo Ancelotti? Was that his final game as Chelsea manager?
It's tough to play against Everton at home in their stadium. Is really tough, and so I have the memory of it, but it's true that my last game at Chelsea was against Everton.
When they moved into Goodison, it was nothing like the Goodison Park that we know now. There was a church here in the corner still, the previous incarnation of the church, so the ground had to develop around that. By the mid-60s, further improvements to the roofs, etc., and Goodison was one of the premier stadia in the land, and hence when the 1966 World Cup came round to England, it staged more games than any other club ground. Only Wembley staged more games.
My dad took me to Goodison to see Pelé play in 1966. I was 11 years of age, and Pelé didn't play. The Bulgarians had kicked lumps off him 4 nights earlier. He didn't play against Hungary.
66 and we just won the cup. So I bought myself a season ticket for the games that were at Goodison, and I was sat in Gladys Street watching Brazil and the other great team, the Yugoslavian team, were playing there.
I cleaned the boots for some of the players, obviously the English boys and that. And, you know, I've got to say that they weren't tidy, the World Cup players. You could turn around one day and you're only 2 feet away from Eusebio.
So I got so much luck in my life. There is small guy scores a goal against the big guy. That's a moment special in our life. Football, it's so rich. It's incredible sport that became part of your life, and things happen with you that you never forget.
I remember the insets behind the goal. You know, all of those features of Goodison Park, which are truly unique.
By the 30s, it had 3 Archibald Leach stands, so that characteristic crisscross pattern that we still have on the Bullens Road balcony. So it really was, you know, one of the premier grounds in the land. Once John Moores became involved, lending money at the back end of the 50s and then effectively bankrolling the club through the Littlewoods organisation in the 60s, you know, we were the Mersey millionaires, and money could be invested in the ground. Of course, the first triple-deck stand in the land was the Goodison Road stand that we have now, which was built at the tail end of the 60s and opened in 1971. Again, showing its age now with all the pillars, but at the time, and even now, you approach Goodison from a distance, and that's the first thing you see. It is a monstrous in a great way, that impression it leaves. So it really was, up to the 1970s, one of the best stadia in the land, even if now I think we can safely say it is showing its age.
I actually see that they've done a lot of really good work in keeping Goodison in as good a nick as possible.
This was the ideal for me, this year. Everton born and bred.
Behind the scenes, as I said, you know, small corridors, no room in the dressing room, hardly any changing space, you know, same toilets that were there, you know, 10, 15 years ago. So there's lots of things which haven't changed.
If there's one thing you could take from Goodison Park to the new stadium, what would it be?
Not the showers.
Is there anything I won't miss about the place? I think I'll miss everything. I'm sure there's a few season tickets behind poles and that they'll be glad to get rid of and get a proper view.
It's remained very much as it was when I first went in 1966 to this dying day, and there's no such thing as obstructed view tickets at Goodison. They're all obstructed.
I go to Goodison, and so I was used to the Emirates seats. so it's the front seat. I was sitting next to late chairman, and you know, just looking at the stadium, it's very intense. You feel the pitch. It's just next to you, and no other stadium would have had given me this feeling.
The fact that this is the pitch, the same pitch that Dixie Dean scored his 60th goal on in 1928, that header at the park end, you know, the pitch that Alan Ball played on, Tommy Lawton, Alex Young, Bob Latchford, Graham Sharp, you know, those memories stay there. It's sort of enshrined, you know, in that place. You can't take them with you. They stay in our heads, but the heart will always be there at Goodison.
You just think, well, you know, some of the players who played here, some of the people who've managed them, the great coaches, you know, semi-final of the World Cup in '66. You know, it's one of the sort of ancestral homes of English football. They are playing in one of the most famous stadiums in the world, just because it doesn't have the sort of, you know, the glamour of Tottenham Hotspur's new stadium, or the sort of the architectural beauty of the Allianz, or the sort of, you know, the majesty and splendour of the Bernabeu. It is still Goodison Park, And when people walk to Goodison Park, whether they're going for their 500th time or their first time, it's Goodison Park. It's all of those things which are special to football and to sport. And yeah, it's all wrapped up in there. And it's about to go.
It rose above those terrace streets that were snuggled all around, like a giant sporting cathedral. This was Goodison Park, the football ground. Everton was the local district. It was the start of a fabulous dream. Football their religion, Everton FC their team. Fans remember the Holy Trinity, Kendall, Harvey and Ball, Big Nev, Big Joe, Pele and Dixie Dean. Goodison Park saw them all. A fond farewell from thousands of fans. Mother, father, sister and brother. Sweet memories of Goodison Park, from one grand old lady to another. And down by the riverside, at Bramley-Moore Dock next year, Evertonians will look skywards and say, you can still see Goodison Park from here.
It's an historical stadium, and I am a little bit sad that the Goodison Park closed, but this is the life, and I hope that the Everton fans will be able to bring the same passion and the same love in the new stadium.
It's difficult to describe. There's a mystic about it. I think when you walk in, you feel that it's not a normal stadium. It's a sense of living a present moment of history.
Goodison is history of English football. The narrow tunnels, the old and small dressing rooms, the stands, the way that people supports the club in a city where obviously there is a giant next door. I can say I have Goodison in my heart.
I was falling in love, like everyone else. So once Everton catches you, so I think that had caught me.
So, after 133 years, the grand old lady is moving on. What memories, and what highs and lows and happiness. And how lucky am I to have been there and to have supported Everton for so long.
David, 3 words to describe Goodison Park.
The People's Club.
Goodison Park, loud and proud.
Hostile, noise and emotion.
It will be hard, and I don't know. I don't know if the fans will realise how much it means to the players as well.
Well, it is bricks and mortar, but it's the people who fill it, and you remember them for the rest of your life.
You're not going to cope, are you? No. I'm nearly filling up now. And I haven't had a bevy for a week. Dear me.
I think this is our chance, our platform to overcome years of frustration. And I think I'm just hoping that I could have been a catalyst for this. That's the main thing for me.
I've said it and I'll keep saying it. This football club needs to be winning things, and if we can get things right behind the scenes, we've got a good manager who understands the football club, who hurts when the football club doesn't win, who is, in my opinion, I know he's been at different clubs, but in my opinion, he's an Everton manager, and this has been his club.
It's been a club which has got great history. It's had this stadium, which in many ways we've probably been really proud of, but in other ways we're ready now to move on. I think we're ready to go to a new house, and because of that, we'll miss it, but it's time to look at what's the future.
That was the first ground I went to 3 days old, and when I was born, that's where he was playing. So Everton was and still is sort of a big part of my life in terms of fans messaging me, always having that link there because of him, and them showing me love as well, which is obviously really appreciated. Once he retired and you're just walking in the street, you go for food with him, even some of my games, and he says he gets mobbed by people wanting signatures and photos, and Everton fans here, there, everywhere. So you don't really realise it until once he stopped playing that I was oh wow, he's really left a massive effect on all the fans.
hard to believe that, you know, Goodison's going.
It's just a great football stadium.
This is my home.
How I feel about it all, it doesn't feel real yet.
I just remember everything about it, and it'll stay with me forever.